What up, y'all? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Welcome to WWT Live. We're going to be talking all things love in WWE and some Mercedes Moné stuff as well. So keep it locked.
Hey, y'all, it's Kona.
And I'm Chaos. And you're watching
Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
What's up? What's up, y'all? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad. We got a lot to talk about. I'm more excited about certain news as opposed to other news. But I am not alone. We have a new co-host joining WWT Live. Please welcome Honey. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Just so you know how Said and everybody else gets their drops. It's very organic. And we also have the official producer in the chat as well, Dylan. So he tends to make some stuff for us. So just, it's going to come. It's going to come. So welcome to WWT.
Thank you.
And
appreciate it.
No problem. Shout out to Cool Gamer in the chat as well. I heard, oh yes, I did see that. I heard a certain electrifying person in Alabama. I heard that as well. So
Can't even go to the gym.
I know we might talk about it, but we are not alone. He has graced us with his presence. I think this is 3 days in a row this week, hailing from the streets. That he said in the building. How are you doing?
I have a question. Is it organic? Is it? I don't think it's organic. I feel like this persona was forced upon me.
Forced.
And I'm still trying to figure out when I became this individual that I don't identify with at all.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say forced. I say it comes organic because you stay being in the streets. Don't be in the streets, and then we won't say anything.
But just tell people why I'm in the streets. Tell them the origin. I have to feed my family. I have to feed my children. There's no promiscuity going on. I got stuff to do.
I mean, Honey, did you ever think promiscuity until he said promiscuity?
I mean, if you say it before it's even said, it sounds like possible.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
That's about to pound the streets.
This is
all right.
Just wanted to clarify the organic word that I heard earlier in the stream.
It was organic. I guess we're gonna. Honey and I were talking, and I guess said we'll do dealer's choice. Do you want to do bad? What up, JD? Do you want to do bad or you want to do fun? What do you want to start off with?
I'm being asked.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna give her first option. Let's start with the bad. Let's just get it out the way. Rip the Band-Aid off.
All right, well, hit us with the bad then.
So I get to pick the bad, and I got to start the bad. Okay, that's how we're doing.
That's essentially why I asked you, because I knew you were going to go for the bad. So, Honey and I decided that we didn't want to do the bad, so you just kind of stepped right into it.
We just flipped that.
You know what? Let's just go ahead and go down this Vince McMahon rabbit hole because it's starting to get a lot worse the more we peel back the layers of the onion. But we're going to start with somebody who is allegedly involved in everything, and that's Brock Lesnar. If you've been paying attention, there's a lot of people that pay attention on these social media streets, which is very interesting that you have that much time. But we have noticed and now can confirm that 99% of Brock Lesnar related merchandise has been put on a discount sale. And going forward, he has been removed and off the table from all creative pitches. If you got the reports from last week's Royal Rumble, we now know that Brock Lesnar was scheduled to be eliminated from that Royal Rumble from Dominic Mysterio, scheduled to work with Dominic Mysterio in Perth at Elimination Chamber, and scheduled to take on Gunther at WrestleMania. None of those things are going to happen now. So kind of a lot of bad going on in the world of Brock Lesnar right now. And it seems like WWE is starting to distance themselves from him altogether as well.
Well, I had actually an interesting chat with JD earlier today. Who I don't know. I haven't given him the what title he'll be for WWT, but I feel like WWE is distancing themselves for now because you have these allegations, and also let's be clear, this is just paperwork and stuff that has been sent to the court. There's no payouts as of yet. If there are going to be ones, it hasn't been in court, and I am always a proponent of waiting to see how it plays out. I mean, as we've all seen, doesn't mean just because the person beats the allegations doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't guilty of it. However, there's just a lot of things that are swirling around. So I with the deals that WWE did, I kind of agree with them where it's like, look, let me just take a beat. Let's, distance ourselves a little bit. Let's just see how this all plays out before we, go hard in the paint, I should say.
Yeah, I actually agree. I try not to speculate too much and too deep about everything unless we know all the facts and have all the info that we need as well. But it is an ugly situation for all. It's just something that is very uncomfortable, and I don't blame WWE for breaking off their ties because unfortunately it's a very big tie to sever because of what a draw he was and what an athlete he was in all aspects of sports entertainment, even UFC, Mm-hmm. But now with the merger with WWE and UFC being together, you can't have Brock Lesnar, especially with all this mess being spewed out. And now it's coming to light in a different way where it's affecting a lot of relationships. So you have to break ties. And I honestly don't blame them at all. And, we just hope for the best and hope that we always want to hope that things like this aren't true, but things like this do happen in the world, unfortunately. And we just, pray for the best positive outcome for the party that was affected by it the most, which was the victims. And, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Our information officer, Bosa, asking the question is, when all this blows over, does WWE work with Brock or that's it? I mean, I think with that question, it's really just dependent on how it blows over, what happens. If there is, like I said, if there is a payout, if there is a court case, if there's more people that come forward, because, and this is an unpopular opinion, just because people come forward, say we have 20 people who come forward. It's the due diligence of the court system to verify and check mark all that stuff. So that's where the court of popular opinion, you might say 20 people have come forward. That doesn't mean 20 people, all things happened with 20 people. And that's kind of where it becomes a slippery slope. So it really just depends. I mean, I don't even want to say his name, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what side you're on, Hulk Hogan was prominent at the Royal Rumble, which I didn't think was going to happen 5-10 years ago. So, and two totally different things that happened, still egregious, but
of course,
it really just depends. It really just depends on the timing. It depends on the allegations. It depends on the where we are in this present time as far as society compared to where we are 5 years from now. There's so many different factors that we can't we can't speculate, and it depends on it's no longer obviously the McMahons who are running the show. So, and it depends on who's going to be running the show in years to come. So it's no longer like a family thing and they have their set of beliefs and stuff like that. It's all like a business. So hypothetically, if nothing comes out of it as far as Brock Lesnar per se, all the allegations were found to be true. And in 3 years, there's a really good story angle for Brock to come back. And people are asking for Brock to come back. And now they can sell his merch because his merch has been offline and all the things. Mm-hmm. Money-wise, I think people often forget that, it's yes, we love wrestling, but it's also a business. So, it just, I'm not a fortune teller, and it could be the opposite. A lot of people come forward. It's proven to be true. Brock now chills on his farm and lives his best life in Canada. That's a possibility too. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, it's unfortunate because we're not going to see the ride off in the sunset or a Hall of Fame induction or anything about anything that has to do with anything like that with Brock Lesnar anytime soon. I'm sure this would have probably been his like final run, I think, because he was getting older as it was. But I mean, you can't never say never anyway, and you can't put a time stamp on anything. But if it was his choice to go out this year, it's unfortunate that the bag had to be that was the bag that was fumbled for WWE, because that would have been the biggest things one of the biggest things we've been looking forward to and talking about right now if those matches were made, unfortunately. But that WWE does take this very seriously. All parties, including Triple H and Shawn Michaels, have said very seriously, and they're not going to let up and just brush it under the table, of course. So they had to sever ties, which rightfully so.
And don't forget Brock Lesnar's daughter. If she chooses to go into wrestling, that's a whole nother avenue as well. As far as if you're creating storylines, but we definitely don't want to harp too much on that. What we got next, Sid?
Since we're
in the
we're already here, we might as well just talk about it.
Might as well talk about it.
Mr. McMahon is now under federal investigation for sex trafficking allegations. Authorities have been interviewing women who accuse longtime WWE boss of sexual misconduct. Not really much you can. The title says it all. Mr. McMahon, if you read the court documents from the allegations from when we just talked about Brock Lesnar, and then you put the two and two together, where this man's basically pimping this woman out to some of the roster, stuff like that. Now it's coming out down that he's actually a part of a complete different sex trafficking ring. It's very serious investigation and allegations here, because people that get caught and busted for this, they don't come back. They go away. They go under the jail. So with all this stuff swirling around WWE, from the person who kind of created the product, it's like we had some good news, TKO, $7, Dwayne, all this stuff, and then this big cloud just happened, literally like 48 hours later. And it seems like they're trying to get up for air above this dark cloud in WrestleMania season. Couple that with all the injuries we have going into Perth and going into Mania. It seems like we're going to be around a lot more dark days before we have some sunshine in WWE. But with this latest thing coming out about the investigation, when we talk about more women possibly coming over to tell their story about Brock and everything else that was going on and during that time frame, how do you feel? I won't go towards Vince. I want to go towards that era. How does that, for people in the chat, how does that allow you to view the McMahon family as a whole? You have to feel like people know what's happening. I mean, whether they don't want to know the dark details about it, you have to feel like they know something.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at those multi-layer kind of stories and stuff where they talk about like family dynasties and historical stuff with families doing different things. You can't essentially be your father's keeper. Hypothetically, say Stephanie had a feeling or whoever had a feeling, but you couldn't prove it. There's just a lot of different things that are happening. So I wouldn't necessarily put it against the entire McMahon family, because that's like, say somebody in your family did something totally terrible and you had an inkling that they were kind of shady, but you didn't know all the things. And now you're being lumped in with what that uncle or whoever did. You can't put that against the whole family. And, I know people want to like to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but also let's be very honest. Like if Vince McMahon didn't do what he did, we wouldn't have WWE. So I think people have to acknowledge that. So it's like you can definitely, once proven guilty on all the things, or personal opinion, say he's trash and all these other things, but you also cannot, unless you just do the R. Kelly and the Michael Jackson of it all, or whoever, and you're like no longer, and the Kanye, you're no longer mess with the artist, and you're no longer messing with the music. If that's your stance, you can do that too. I think it's a little bit harder because WWE is like the premier product. So that like it's there, it's very complicated. I think you can definitely hate what the man did, but you also have to acknowledge where we are right now. Like it's we wouldn't be doing all this stuff if it wasn't for him. So
I totally agree with that, TK, because it's almost like a double-edged sword. Even it's almost like there's no good side of it, but there's the only good side. The only upside is that we have a product that we love to watch every week and talk about, and with that product being created more promotions and other businesses that are currently running in sports entertainment and wrestling, and it's how can we not respect that part of the tenacity of Vince McMahon, as far as the business, as far as what he built from the ground up, as far as what he built upon what his father did. It was a family legacy, and he turned it into the biggest conglomerate, one of the biggest conglomerates in the whole entire world. And with that, I'm sure, with things like that, and being able to have the ability to do things like that, comes a lot of power. And a lot of people, depending on the, like they say in the Marvel movies, depending on whose hands it's in, the power can be used for good or for bad. And there's people out there that will do anything to hold on to that. And in retrospect, could that be what he did? Possibly. But it's not up to us to sit here and speculate on that, because what we care about is the actual product itself and what we're seeing on the TV. It's not that we don't care about what's going on. It's just that it's more of a, that's what they need to handle, and that's what they need to investigate. That's why that's why it's a federal investigation, and the justice system will hopefully do what they need to do. But all we can do is just sit back and just see what happens next, because it does affect all of us in the long run. It affects the people in the locker room. It affects the corporation. It affects Nick Khan. It affects all his business relationships, past, present, and ones that he was going to build upon this year. It's really, really hard. It's really hard to talk about.
It's I honestly think, and Professor said it, I think it was on Friday or Monday. The timing of it was probably the best timing of it, meaning that when Nick Khan came, we saw Nick Khan come. He said his goal was to sell the company, get all, like, these were the things. And maybe Vince also knew, because remember, Linda was in public office.
Yes.
And according to the movies, I'm not up those chains. According to these movies, people talk, lawyers talk, all that stuff. So if this was a movie and it played out, maybe all parties, including WWE, TKO, Vince McMahon, all the stuff, they all knew that this was going to come, minus the woman that had the case January 25th. But they all knew this was coming. So the timing of it all, as far as the optics, this was probably the best way to do it. Do the partnership, get the Netflix deal, get everything else, and then let all the other things drop. Because now, he's out of the picture, but he's 78. Like, it's not like if he were in his 40s or 50s or 30s, stuff like that, it'd be a little bit different. I mean, obviously we saw Bill Cosby go to jail, and I really don't want this whole episode to be about that, but the timing of it for that bad news is probably the best way to do for it to go. So There's some comments here. Both to
Give
say
me
I can't lie.
Succession.
I was, yeah, kind of, yeah, like that. I can't lie. I was
Mhm.
nervous. People were going to hijack Royal Rumble and call WWE's ending. Yeah, I mean, I think that's possible. That's no different than when, you know, Trump was in office and people said they were moving to Canada. The percentage of people who actually moved to Canada was very low. So you may have people who are upset, people who will boycott WWE. But the great thing where we are in wrestling, there's a lot of other wrestling products to watch. So if you want to do that, that's great. Special nobodies, what's up? These are real people. Vince is his kid's grandfather. What did they really expect Triple H to say?
Yeah.
That's correct as well.
Did
What
you
are
see his
saying,
face
JD?
when he got asked that?
Well,
When
he
they
knew it
asked him
was
at the press
coming.
conference? Yeah. I mean, obviously it would. I'm just surprised it was like the first question off rip. Like, damn.
Well, it's kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off. JD saying whether the allegations are true or false, the silver lining in all this is WWE is going to have their house cleaned, true, and moving forward, it should be such a cleaner, better, safer place to work in theory. In theory, I mean, yeah, I mean, just go back in American history, y'all. Like, not to say there's some comparisons, but I want to say our forefathers, but y'all's forefathers did some shady stuff in every country. So this is not new. This is not new, and it's not until you do some digging that you figure out, oh, he was fighting to, you know, for us, but he still had what. So not to make light of it, but yeah, we wait for it to go to court, and yeah, I definitely think you can dislike the man for his actions and, you know, put him under the prison and all the things, but we also have, you can't call for the ending for WWE. That's jobs, that's everything else.
Yeah.
Anywho, we both said that we didn't want to talk about it, and we let Sed pick the bad news, and we talked about it more than Sed has. What else?
We're not done yet. We're not done yet. It got one more. You got one more. And this is Women's Wrestling Talk, so allow the EST to defer to the women on their thoughts because this involves women. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts, but it's also being reported that Vince McMahon reported and drafted and signed NDAs without the knowledge of the WWE. So the NDAs that several women signed with Vince McMahon were reportedly created in secret, entered into without WWE's knowledge, with McMahon even as going as far to sign them on the company's behalf. So there's layers to this. And the reason why I want you guys' thoughts, traditionally in this country, there are two factions of people that are traditionally not protected, and that's Black people and women. This is a case where women are affected in a major way, which is why I defer to you guys and your thoughts. This is a company, like you said, it's the global worldwide leader, and you have this dirt that's coming up from its creator. So whether it goes to trial or it goes to court, gets washed away, stuff like that, that stain's still going to exist. We're still going to know that this happened. Once you read those text messages, I promise you, they will not leave your brain. That is like diabolical levels of horny. I'd never want to read something like that again in my life. So when you see stuff like that and you realize that, hey, it's a whole ring, more people are involved, and it might even stretch down to performers that you liked at one point. Now you're saying that it was even swept under the table. Everything's connected. The selling of shares over the past month, the pushing the company to sell, going to Wall Street, all these things are connected because you see that there was a plan for some type of graceful exit strategy before this emerged, because everything gets uncovered these days. But now it's brought to light. And now it's brought to light, what can we do? Or how do you move forward knowing this stuff exists?
Like I said before, I think they're and like JD also referenced to, they're cleaning house. I mean, you could talk about was it Paterno? What school was that again?
Joe Paterno, Penn State?
Yeah. Penn State. When they found all that stuff out, and I think there might have been, quote me if I'm wrong, there might have been some sweeping under the rug at the time, and then everything was found out and they cleared house. that's essentially what WWE is doing. They're clearing house, that it's no longer like, if you remember, it was a family organization, then it went to stocks, then like they was taking steps to get to that level, and say they cleaned house, to the point now we're in this era where there's not a lot of secrets. The paper trail is very it's hard to get away from. We all have personal devices. Depending how far up the chain you are, if people are trying to attack you or not, meaning that you have a phone, and I don't know if you know, your phone's listening all the time. If you have an Alexa or a Siri or whatever in your house, and you tell them to turn on music and all that stuff is listening. So you have a phone, you have a computer. Any text message you say could be entered into court of law. Any social media posts, DMs, all that stuff now can be entered into court of law. We're seeing rappers being used, their own music being used against them. So we're in an era right now that you have to be very, I wouldn't say you have to be very careful, but you have to know your rights. You have to know how things go about. And you also have to realize that if you do certain things that, if you put it out there, then you're going to be, I wouldn't say reprimanded, but it's there. Like, for you to be so brazen to put these in text messages and send them and not think that, because even if you delete the text messages, that doesn't mean the person
So that means
like,
federal government can't get to it. Like,
yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. And also, FYI, even if you destroy the phone, you can call the company and get those text messages back. So
absolutely.
they don't, none of that stuff goes anywhere. So it's just, at one point Twitter was reporting stuff too, to like, it's we're in this era with that all being said, I think we're in a better era now that stuff like this can't happen as egregious as it did. Meaning that, and I think also in particular women, and depending on what company you work for, minorities, we're in a better position where we can speak out and feel like our voices are being heard. Whereas certain time years ago where you felt like you couldn't speak out because you might lose your job, you might do this, you might get blackballed, all this other stuff. Now it's not necessarily like that. There's still more room for improvement, but we're in it's a, I don't want to say it's a good time, but if you are doing bad things, it's not a great time for you, I should say, because you're not going to have decades or a lifetime under, decades or a lifetime of people not knowing your secrets. I think I watched this comedian this morning where it was D.L. Hughley, who was talking about how back in the day, people used to have secret families, and he didn't realize the secret family until the person passed away. Like, that stuff don't happen no more. Like, Facebook, social, all that stuff. Like, the secrets are the lifetime of a secret is shorter. So
the cat is out of the bag.
Yeah.
Cat Williams set it off early in 2024.
Oh
he
my
said
God, it's fine.
He said
and
it.
His 3.4 40-yard dash. But yeah, I think the fact that Vince is gone from the company, and as we saw as the years passed, he's getting less and less duties, and now he's completely out. I think it's a form of cleaning house. That doesn't mean that another scandal or another bad thing's not going to happen. Every company is there to protect their brand. But this was, the day after those allegations, he's no longer part of the company. So I think they're doing their due diligence, and everybody's doing the best that they can. But also with everything, which we will probably get to the good news eventually. So stick with us, continue sticking with us, guys. The good news is that the brand is getting so much better. Like, I call it my AfterBuzz days, when I was really doing all these post shows on all these WWE shows on Raw and SmackDown and NXT and stuff like that. And it was just, sometimes it was just like grueling because the storylines weren't that great. It was just, you could just see. And now we're just in a different era where there's so many amazing things happening across the board, in particularly, obviously, for Women's Wrestling Talk and women and minorities and stuff like that, that is exciting. So with the bad, there's a lot of good that's happening. So, yeah, I mean, like I said before this story, I mean, you can hate the man for the stuff that he did, and hopefully justice is served and all this other stuff, but you can't hate the product that he created, and now somebody else is taking that baton and making that product even better, which I think should lead to our next piece of news. We don't have any more bad news, right? We can now
No,
talk about.
well, I'll spare you for the bad news. What I learned from that spiel was that the cycle of a secret is substantially shorter right now, and we all have a phone. But however, the real TK has 3. You would information what you would. But on to better news. It's Friday, the second day of Black
What
History
a
Month,
segue.
and the debut of Love and WWE Bianca and Montez is now available for streaming. All 8 episodes are on Hulu. Have you guys had a chance to binge yet?
Binge the first 6.
Really?
I've
All
been
right.
1. Yeah. I've been 1. Yeah, Honey's binged 6. I think I saw online on social media some people said they binged all 8. I am excited. This is with everything that we just talked about, this show and the time, and I don't think honestly, I don't know. The air date of this show was announced I think late last year. So I don't know if they knew everything else, how everything else was going to pan out, but the timing for this show,
impeccable.
Like, it's not going to wash away. However, it's almost like the balance of good and evil. It's like, this sucks. He's gone. We hope they're going to deal with it. But this right here, Black excellence, Black love, wrestling love, young
Here
love, all
Here
the things, outfits, glitter, but like it's all, it's kind of like a new, I love the style. It's kind of like a Total Diva style. It's a typical reality platform style. But it's everything. It's all the happiness that you need to see on a Friday if you did put yourself through the misery of reading all those court documents. But I'm going to digress to you, Honey, because you've seen more episodes than I have. So what did you think?
I did. Honestly, I think they're absolutely adorable. I love Bianca and Montez from the jump anyway, when they both came in on NXT. But seeing their growth, and I think seeing them in this kind of a light definitely allows us to see how they peel back their curtain and into their relationship and how they live their life and their lifestyle and their family life and their values and the things like that. Like they're both absolutely like fire personalities. They are absolutely through the roof hilarious, and they're adorable. They've been together for they're growing through this life. So it's like to be able to watch them grow even further into their romantic relationship and as superstars and growing in the business. It's actually really refreshing to see, and it's different than I would say the other reality shows we've seen, because it was more so about the male superstar, and then this was the wife that was a part of WWE but is not anymore and had kids and things like that, like Ms. and Mrs. and Brandy and Cody and things like that. This is more, we're literally growing into this thing together. We're young. We're a young couple. We're both game changers in history and future game changers, no doubt. With Bianca already going into WrestleMania, she pretty much the timeline of it was going into WrestleMania Hollywood last year, and you kind of see, I don't know if it was a possible identity crisis going on with Street Profits and Montez, and he was doing the Elimination Chamber, and he was solo on his own. So you get to see a lot of their mental struggles and how they coach each other through it too. So it's really refreshing to see that kind of love still exist out there, even with folks younger than I would say. They're younger than me too. But it's I absolutely love it. I just have probably a couple more episodes left to watch, but I couldn't stop it because they were absolutely funny. And then to see them interact with the other superstars, like Omos makes a little appearance in there. Dawkins is all up in there. Liv, you see a lot of superstars getting ready in the background while they're filming certain scenes and things like that. You get to look in their family life. So I can't wait to see more of it. I mean, I've already watched most of it, but I just hope that it allows for more growth for the both of them, whether Montez stays with Street Profits or whether he proceeds as a solo. But I think it was definitely a nice little dive deep into the microscope of Bianca and Montez. It was really nice to watch.
What do you think, Seth? Did you get to watch it, or you were in the streets? You just came back.
I have not been able to watch it yet. It just dropped, I believe, as of midnight this morning, but I will try to check it out tonight.
Okay.
So I'm happy to hear such great reviews. I was actually very optimistic about seeing it, because I think it takes place during the time where they both were doing their fitness competition. So being able to balance everything is probably some of the more remarkable work you'll ever see for people who are on the road almost every day out of the year. So yeah, I look forward to watching it. Hopefully I can learn some stuff about them as athletes and performers that I didn't know from their on-screen personas.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like you're going to learn stuff about them as far as relationships and, apply that to your sugar mamas and stuff. That's what I thought. Shout out to Special Little Nobodies. He says he's on episode 5, but he stopped for this live. So thank you for stopping by. And, I think it's a good show. He also says, I may be reaching, but looking at the last press run this week and how the show is playing out, it seems like they are setting Bianca to be the next Cena, Rock, Austin level star.
Absolutely.
I mean, I saw that when she was at the Performance Center. Like, if you look back, I need to double check the YouTube page, but if you look back, they were like the videos of her lifting and all, like it's no surprise where she is now. Like they definitely put the strap on her back before she even hit NXT, because she has it all together. So yeah, maybe I think we'll see if that's the case. If she does the movie roles, like she's doing the commercials now, so we're seeing her how she's interacting in the commercials. She's doing press. She's done Sherry Shepherd, all this stuff. But I think once we see her in a movie, and depending on what character she plays, that's how we'll know. Because with the Cena, Rock, and Austin, more the Cena and Rock, the crossover appeal, that's what we're talking about. So Bosa's saying, I was thinking he would learn some ways to impress his sugar mama.
Somebody was pasting that comment.
We're on the same page. So let us know, said on Monday, what you've learned as far as like relationship qualities, and if you applied them this weekend and all the things. Just saying.
Love it.
Just say. I mean, it's the interaction between the two of them, and how he caters to him, and vice versa. This is just even in the first episode, how she did certain things very low key, and him as well. When I saw the previews for the next episodes, and that's what you need, especially when you're in that boss era. So
yeah, you could definitely tell they pour into each other's cup equally. They give each other the same energy that they receive, from each other, and they guide each other and coach each other. It's nice. It's beautiful to watch. So keep that young Black love up, please.
There it is.
Beautiful.
So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with said. What do we got next?
It's this unnecessary shade. Well, talking about people that dominate the conversation, it is now being reported that Mercedes Moné is set to appear in AEW in March, which is throwing everybody in IWC into a little hissy fits because people want one thing versus the other. Now, I will caution about the reporting is that she's set to appear. It didn't say like, oh, there's a signing or what she's appearing for. Because remember, she appeared in AEW in Wembley last year as well. But what are your thoughts about this report, what it means for Mercedes' career? A lot of people, there are reports that she's AEW bound as a whole. But what does that mean? And one thing I'll say about Mercedes is she is, whoever her marketing people are, They are genius because they keep her. Whenever there's something going on, you see her name right there. She's at the top of the conversation. She's being talked about wherever you turn.
I honestly don't think it's her marketing team.
It might just be
I
her.
think I don't even think it's her. I honestly think that the obsession with, I mean, just look at, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. Just look at when her and Trin left, how they were literally the topic of conversation for a year plus, and they didn't even say anything. And even after the fact, you know, when she, like, mind you, Mercedes hasn't done that many interviews. She just pops up. She pops up and she looks amazing, and then you think all these things, and you know, either want the best for her or the worst for her, whatever. But I think that, you know, especially now since we've seen Trin, aka Naomi, with WWE now, the next logical thing is, well, where's Mercedes gonna go? Like, I honestly think she's just doing her thing. She's minding her own business. She's, you know, having the conversations, or her team is having the conversations. She's trying to figure out what's best for her. And, you know, then we have the speculations of everything. And I agree with you. There is reports showing that she's supposed to show up for AEW. And if she does, I mean, we talked about this. You know, I hope for her and Trin that, like, the bag is big. I mean, I feel like you can't talk about somebody for a year plus and them not to command some money. So if she does, I hope the bag is big. I hope she does the negotiations that she needs to, where she can, you know, really help guide the storyline, and particularly for her and maybe the women around her, as far as the women in AEW. But I mean, if she does, she does. I mean, the wrestling now is becoming so much more fluid. You know, it's no longer you're with WWE and that's it. Like, I mean, obviously there's not a crossover between AEW and WWE, but we don't know how long the contract. Trinity was with TNA for not even a year. So she could be with the AEW for 9 months. Like, it's not this hard and fast thing. And also too, with AEW, we can go to other platforms and other promotions. So I don't know. I don't know, folks, you know, I don't be in the streets like said be in the streets, but I think folks have a lot of time. folks have a lot of time to, like, speculate when Mercedes just minding her own business.
Yeah, I feel like any time there's an opportunity for her name to be a topic of conversation, she should take it. I mean, she's one of the baddest chicks in the game, and she's established herself as a blueprint, and she's established herself as the boss, and now she's just getting that moolah. Like, at this point, just keep getting the bag, girl. Do your thing. Let them talk, and you figure out what's best for you, because once you know, you know. And she's one of those superstars. I feel that's an artist that goes based on what her gut tells her, what her feeling tells her. Like, she won't do it unless it doesn't feel right, or unless it doesn't make sense, because she's worked herself up to be able to negotiate that way, because she's carried herself so highly. She always did from the jump, and I totally commend her for it. I would be very excited to see her no matter where she lands, because no matter where she lands, I'm going to tune in. We're all going to tune in. That's pretty much what I support it.
In the instant that it is AEW bound, there are some people that have very strong opinions on it being AEW and it being a done deal online already. Are there any people you want to see her opposite of the ring with?
Opposite. Oh, Mercedes opposite. Yeah.
I think it just depends on who.
Who do you want to see her tell a story with?
I mean, obviously, you want to see her in the championship picture. I honestly, where AEW's at, and also the women who used to be WWE superstars and now with AEW, I feel like there's, aside from Athena, there's like a misstep of sorts. And then we also have, you know, Britt. Like, I mean, the women's roster in AEW is pretty good. So as far as where she should start, it's not to me about where she should start. It's like almost kind of creating that multi-universe of all the possibilities. Like, what does it look like between her and Britt? Or what does it look like between her and Toni Storm? And what does it look like between her and Saraya? And also, what version of Mercedes are we getting? Are we going to get the NWA version? Are we going to get the WWE version? Are we going to get something totally different? So I can't say I would want to see her mix it up with everybody. Like, you know, essentially like have different stuff with everybody, but good, just good solid storylines. That's what I'm hoping. If she does go to AEW, that is negotiated within her contract, that there's a really great storyline that we can buy into. Like how Athena had an amazing storyline that some of us don't get to watch because it's behind that paywall, but we still hear about it. Mm-hmm. Like kind of the same thing, but on AEW.
Yeah, I believe Mercedes had like just like she did in WWE, and just as you said, it with wrestling being fluid. I believe that Mercedes Moné is just as fluid, and she can mix it up with anybody because she can do all kinds of styles. She was pretty versatile, and ever since she ventured off in New Japan Pro as well, or in Japan, she completely elevated her repertoire as far as what she can do in the ring. And I mean, obviously, people are gonna say, you know, give me Toni Storm and Sasha. They're gonna want her to go straight for a title. You know, she's the big draw. But there's so many other women on that roster that she could create a story with if she wanted to go that route, or if it just depends on how they land her. It just depends on how she debuts and who she comes after. Who, like, you know, there's rivalries that they can create. She could go at Ruby. You know, like she can mix it up with anybody, and I feel like she's a chameleon in wrestling, Mercedes, to me, because she could just fit in anywhere and she'll break the mold anywhere she lands. So I mean, I'd be interested to see her just run down the whole roster and become the best and create a name for herself and then become champion, knowing from the beginning that that's what they were going to plan for her anyway. Like just give us that build. Just give us her championship build, or just give us a new story. Just give us something new to see.
Yeah, two things. Special Anobi saying they have amazing women, horrible bookings, and little TV time. Agreed. Will they change anything for her? Like I said, I think Mercedes is in a position that if she does sign, she needs to sign with the caveat that she can control or at least have say in. I wouldn't necessarily say the TV time, but if she can, great. But more the storylines. And
I have to feel like that would be a bigger feather in the cap for her versus going to WWE. It's like, hey, I revamped this whole company's women's division for the better. That's how important I am.
And
is that now you
than
see
you found
3
it.
women's matches on programming. Now you see better curated storylines and programming because I stepped into the picture.
And who's
I
to say
feel like that would be even more so than the money. She'll get the money regardless. I have to feel like that would be more meaningful to her legacy if she was able to impact the industry that way.
Yep. And who's to say after that she won't go to WWE? Who's to say that she will or she won't? She could do anything she wants. She's Mercedes Moné.
And I mean, we said this before Trina appeared in WWE, but I think the women's roster is stacked right now for WWE. So even if she were to go to WWE, like where would she fit in? And if that's the case, who does she bump? So it's kind of like if we take 9 months to a year and Mercedes does, you know, more of the indie scene and AEW or Impact or whatever, and she comes back next year, you know, Jade should be established. Trin should have her place. Like now there's going to be a little bit more of an opening, obviously barring, you know, new NXT talent coming up, etc. So, yeah, I think it's like, you know, it makes no sense for her to come now as far as, you know, the WrestleMania title picture. Or if she does come, it's to help Bayley after WrestleMania. And now, you know, obviously we all know WrestleMania is like a reset. So now we can have the storylines. But her coming anytime now, It don't make sense. And also too, would you want her to come to be adjacent, attached to somebody, or do you just want her to stand 10 toes down, just her being Mercedes Moné? Like, you necessarily her coming to, you know, help Bailey might not be the play, but you know, who knows?
You never know.
Yeah, what we learned from all this, nobody knows nothing. We have all these reports. Some of them are right. It's kind of like weather. It's kind of like this is probably what wrestling reports and stuff are like. It's like a weather report. You say you say it's gonna rain, and it's a 50-50 chance it does, and if it does, then you were right. Like that's where we are, because nobody
all you
really
can hope is for is the best,
yeah
that you're right or possibly right or on the right track.
on the right track. What we do know is that said stays in the streets. That's all we know for sure. That's what we can guarantee. Other than that, we know nothing.
I cannot.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth completely. Damn it, we gotta delete that. We gotta delete that from the files. That, you know what? All right, what we got? I don't like that one. Don't like that video. Anywho, on the heels of the Royal Rumble last week, and a lot of crossover happening, or future crossover possibly happening with TNA, WWE through the hands of the Endeavor merger, Shawn Michaels is actually interested in the possibilities of outside talent coming to WWE. So if that were ever to be possible, we saw Jordan Grace enter the Royal Rumble, got a lot of fanfare from it. What type of crossover would you like to see, and would it make sense for it to be the third brand on NXT? Would it make sense to have people come down? Maybe we know the NXT women's division is very deep, but are there any superstars in the men's division for TNA that can do crossovers? Or would you like to see? I think we talked about this earlier this week. People from WWE appear on TNA for a brief stint.
Yeah, we did talk about this. I can't remember what day it was, but I feel for the men's, it's a little bit harder because all three brands impact AEW and WWE. Men's wise, it's like an 80-20 comparison, meaning that it's just, you know, you have like either 70 to 80 men on each roster and like 20 to 30 women. So there's just a lot of men. So the crossover for different brands is a little bit harder, unless it's a bigger name, but then who does that benefit? I can definitely see, I think we did talk about Natty going to TNA, which would be great. Like I can see it, you know, even we saw Trin on TNA yesterday. As many of you guys know, TNA records in bulk. So, you know, even Trin making appearance, but then there's where the line kind of gets funny because she's Naomi in WWE. That's semantics, but still, you know, I could see stuff like that. Definitely a Jordan Grace, seeing her on WWE. But I think the consensus was, unless you are an avid watcher of wrestling, a lot of people didn't necessarily know who she was. They knew physically, looks-wise, she fits the brand. Like if she was a new signee to WWE, people would buy into it. They wouldn't think she's a newbie. Like people would buy into that. But so I don't know if her coming to WWE on different stints would necessarily benefit TNA. But you know, I'm for. I think what I'm for most, with all that being said, is the peace and harmony between certain brands. Like it's no longer, at first it felt like WWE was this this castle that was surrounded by a moat. Like nobody, like they don't mention any other promotions, no other promotions exist, all this other stuff. And now it's like they've let down their drawbridge, and some people can come over. You can now discuss people being in Japan and stuff like that. They're allowing for certain things. So it's a nice, I think that's as far as they're going to go. But it's nice that at least, you know, they're making allowances for certain things now, whereas before it wasn't the case. So long story short, I would like to see different people. I don't know if it would benefit. Like maybe somebody like a Natty over the TNA. It might be beneficial for TNA, and it'd be beneficial for Natty because she gets to work with other people. And and then also maybe they can use her as almost like a talent scout of sorts, because she's been training different people from different promotions. But as far as bringing somebody to WWE, yeah, I don't know if that will benefit like TNA.
I can
'Cause they-
see somebody like Chris Bay coming over versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup, some type of programming.
Right.
The Heritage Cup is supposed to be like this mid-card title now, since we don't have the cruiserweight title. But it seems like Noam Dar is void of challengers. It seems like it only exists for Noam Dar's character. So I can see superstars like that in X Division coming over and kind of making that cup feel a little bit more relevant.
I would have said, yeah, Maddie's signed. Oh yeah, we definitely do need to talk about this too. Carl Weathers. What do you
Oh my
think,
God.
honey?
Well, as far as I mean, it's of course it's more likely for Shawn Michaels to be the one to mention opening that door, right?
Mhm.
Because Shawn Michaels has always been that guy to think outside the box. I mean, what can you say? He's Mr. WrestleMania. He's been in probably every classic match, every classic match you could think of. He's fought your favorite's fave, and he's done it all in the game, from being a part of it and being being the headliner of it, and then now doing the back end with Triple H. So it doesn't surprise me that he'd be the one to mention it. I think in a lot of ways this could lead up to some good possibilities for the promotions in the future, for like a possible Worlds Collide PLE, something that we haven't seen in a long time, things that we used to see back in the day that were the reasons why we watch till this day, because we love the chaos of it all. We love to see it, mix it up. It's that whole Marvel multiverse kind of thing going on, and it's just like, the possibilities are completely endless. And of course, with bringing in Jordan Grace at the Rumble, and the Women's Rumble, and so early, by the way, which was like a complete like boom, like it was something that I feel we needed. I feel it's something that we need more of in wrestling, because of the fact that when it was under McMahon, it was more suffocated, and you couldn't even breathe. You couldn't even breathe another promotion's name, or another wrestler's name, or anything like that. It was just way too sensitive. And now to see how far WWE's broadened the horizons under Nick Khan, and being able to navigate who they do dealings with, and the fact that they're opening the doors to bring promotions in, because WWE is so much more on a grand and global scale. I feel like it would benefit in some ways the other promotions, because it's like, hello, this is WWE, and they're a worldwide platform. So to be able to bring stars, either maybe if you want to bring NXT stars over to TNA, or if you want to bring TNA to NXT, because I mean the main roster is a little juicy right now. I feel like maybe some of the main roster like Raw and SmackDown women's rosters, they could use a little just a little spice up in there, maybe one or two more competitors that are worthy of being main event players. But yeah, by all means, bring it on, Sean. Bring it on, and bring me the Worlds Collide, because I would love to see that back.
The Shell Wrangler saying, unless it's some kind of invasion angle, I'd rather see WWE talent come to TNA than TNA go to WWE. I kind of agree with that. Like, also as you were talking, honey, I was thinking like maybe like talent that they don't necessarily have storylines. And I know New Day kind of has a storyline, but like New Day at TNA, that would be interesting. Dylan saying, bring the Ass Boys over to WWE Stat. The Shellringer said the issue is how many wins does TNA get?
I think that's the biggest issue, but I like what Honey's saying about just bringing back Worlds Collide. Worlds Collide used to be amazing between NXT UK and NXT. Since we're in an era where we don't have takeovers anymore, and we kind of have a schedule of PLEs, I think adding in a Worlds Collide could be monumental for both brands, where both brands can win just by the exposure alone.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be like, more so it wouldn't be about how many wins does TNA get. If you want to make it about that, we can, but on a grander scale, everybody's winning in this case, because they're all breaking bread together. They're all on the show together. They're all putting this product up together for
Mhm.
us to be able to do what we do. And it's like it's a constant wheel. And to keep that going, why not bring in something fresh and new? It's something we haven't seen. Whether we've seen it before, fine, but if we haven't seen it in a long time, I mean, come on. I would do it. I would love to see it.
JD asked, "Are we ever going to get a UFC invasion?" And I say, "Please, God, no. Just
No.
keep it completely separate." It was so bad when they did it with AEW. The worlds are not meant to blend. You see you in the crowd, shout out, all that. That's as far as it needs to go. Not in the ring, no shoot fighting. Nah, just keep it separate.
Yeah, because that's the great thing about wrestling. And I think when people who don't necessarily watch wrestling, like not only are these wrestlers talented, you still have to have a certain amount of acting ability to play your character. And UFC, you're just fighting. There's some people who get it. There's some politicians who also get it. But for the folks who like, it's like, look, I'm a fighter. That's what I do. That's it. You're asking me to do all this other stuff. Like it won't work.
Unless you're a fighter with like personality that's got like that Tyson Fury or that what's his damn name? Conor McGregor. If you're not on a level of that, or Deontay Wilder, if you're not anything like that, don't try to. I mean, I would say as far as the toughness that they showed and they acted out like how they did. You know what I mean? Like it was just I guess what I'm trying to say is unless you're not on a big level, you don't even try it.
Well, even with the Deontay Wilder compared to like Conor McGregor, I'd rather see if you had to pick between the two. Conor McGregor is far more of a character than Deontay Wilder.
Yes.
Deontay Wilder is going to show up and say, "I'm Deontay Wilder." Like I don't need to do anything else.
Right.
Conor McGregor is going to give you a little something.
Right. I guess what I meant was that like I felt like Deontay Wilder could have had that capability to bring that level of his character there if he wanted to, but he was just straight gritty and just straight, you know what I mean? Just straight to the point. But the Conor McGregor, like the gimmicky, the drama of it all, the Ilya Dragunov of it all, if you're not intense or dramatic or just not looking into that camera and talking your mess and making people believe it, you can't hack it, and you're not going to convince us.
You have anything to add? UFC resident said he said.
Aficionado? No, I didn't know. Sad. No.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Before we hit the next story, two things. Definitely for Black History Month, we have merch. So go and check out our merch. We also have, shout out to Mackenzie Mitchell. If you can see that, can you see that? She has a really great line called Headliner. And this is a really amazing ring. So shout out to her. Go and check out her website. I got some really great pieces from there. So check that out. And also check out our merch for Black History Month. We have a huge discount going on. So check it out.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www.talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
That always makes me laugh. Yes, said. You seem perplexed.
Oh no! Are we going to do another story or?
Yeah, we could do another story.
Well, I wasn't going to do a story. I was going to make sure before we jump off there that we paid our respects to Carl Weathers, better known as Apollo Creed, passed away this morning at 76. Many might know Carl Weathers from the Rocky movies, but born in New Orleans, we're going to claim him as a Long Beach native because he attended Long Beach Poly, Long Beach City College before going on to play football at San Diego State. Yeah, before he was an actor, he was a football player. Actually played for the Oakland Raiders as well before playing in the Canadian Football League. We will miss him for what he's gave the acting world, all the moments he gave us in Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, of course, Rocky, Creed, and of course, movies like Happy Gilmore. He entertained us for years and inspired so many generations with his work. So we just want to send some well wishes to his family and appreciate his legacy on and off screen.
Yeah. Shout out to the homie Xavier. He did a really touching post. I was telling Honey before we started, this is when I met Xavier when he was doing the Austin Creed kind of, I guess, gimmick in TNA. So he had a really touching thing about him as well. Yeah, he's part of all the fabric of sports entertainment. So yeah, hopefully he did pass away peacefully. So that's always, obviously I haven't passed away, but I think that's the best way to go. So yeah, RIP to him. Do we have any other stories that he said?
Well, you guys gave me dealer's choice in the beginning. I chose the negative, because I like the tea, I like the mess. So is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before we get up out of here that is more, let's call it happy, cheerful?
Well, we did talk about Love and I was gonna say Love and Hip Hop, Love and WWE, which I feel like Love and Hip Hop, Love and WWE is very similar. Anywho, not the ratchetness, because I think Special Little Nobodies and somebody did say it's nice to see Black folks not doing like the ratchet stuff, which I definitely agree with. I really like that. But in accordance to Black History Month, we are going to be highlighting different women for Black History Month. So today we highlighted Janai Kai. So you can check out our website and our social media for that. We also highlighted Daphne LaShawn as well. Fun fact, in the article, we interviewed Daphne, formerly known as Aja, back in the day when she was a wrestler before she even signed to WWE. So you can check out that interview. So we're going to be debuting somebody different every day of the week. Also, for my WoW fans, the Tonga Twins, really great interview. I'm going to give you a little bit of tea. So the Tonga Twins, you're going to find, if you watch the interview, you're going to find out how they're related or if they are related to the Samoan dynasty. So you have to check out the interview for that. But when they trained at Rikishi School, but they were, I don't know if you know about this life, said, because you live in like the boonies, but it's kind of almost a rite of passage in Los Angeles for people trying to like make it that they live in their car. And the Tonga Twins for a few months actually lived in their car while they were training at Rikishi School. So they have a really great, interesting story as far as how they got into wrestling, all the things. We have to do a run it back with them because there's so much more story for them. So you can check out that interview on Women's Wrestling Talk as well.
I'm gonna let you have that because I was gonna say something like really shady about and put my city over about never having to live in my car, but I'm just
you can put your city over. I'm just saying, I know a lot of
it is. Just gonna leave it what it is. No, everybody in the chat. This is day 2 of Black History Month. I just want you guys to know that it's day 2.
No, but this is how this is in LA. I know quite a few people who are now prominent actors and comedians who at one point lived in their car. Like it's not a diss. I'm just saying, if you move to LA proper, then like that's what happens. You live in your car and then you like take a shower at LA Fitness. That's like, if you're living further out, you're not paying as much, and you probably have a place, and you're probably a little bit like, I'm gonna balance it out. I'm gonna work a regular job and I'm gonna try to act. But if you like, I'm all in, then you all in your car in LA Fitness. See, look, JD said even my classmate lived in his van. It's said sometimes I think you think it's at you. I'm just, using you as like,
to live in a van.
Hey, you would love to live in a van,
like a well done van, like like those little boho vans. Like they have the beds and the little kitchen, little thing like that, little nifty things like that.
Oh,
not like an actual van.
Different strokes for different folks. Give me a big ass house.
I'll take both though, but I'll take a tree house. I'll take anything, but
a tree house.
See what it's talking. Yeah. That wildlife, boho life.
with all three screens. Look, Dylan, you don't know my life. With that being said, it's time.
And I wonder which screen she's using to give me all this slander today.
What slander is that?
I play real coy and fun off screen, on screen, but off screen, like I'm scared of TK. You know, I don't think you guys know that TK stands for train killer. So I don't want no smoke. I just do my job and go home. I promise.
Wow.
I promise.
Wow. With that being said, we're gonna let you go back to the streets, he said. So where can everybody find you?
You can find me at home. No, you can find me on Twitter at says that's CEWD_SAYS, and on the gram at said is the answer. I just dropped an article, I believe, for Daily DDT. It took a little while, had to get my laptop back, but go check out my top 3 moments from Royal Rumble weekend. Spent some time in Tampa last weekend. Apparently, I am being tasked to write.
Howdy, folks.
Oh, my bad.
Second time this week. It's the second time being cut out. Look at hey, day 2 of my history month. I can't get my plugs out. Apparently, I'm supposed to be writing an article about a Black History Month superstar this month, so be on the lookout for that for WWT. Also, apparently, I've been reprimanded. Also, be on the lookout for an NXT-centric podcast post-show to be announced or just to drop on you sometime in the near future. Also, check out Top Rope Nation Unplugged. Jacob Lawrence and myself got to sit with Jesse Velasquez and talk about all things wrestling this past Monday for the Patreon network. Make sure you give that podcast a listen.
Oh shoot, that was today. Oh my bad. You can find said not in a band apparently. Honey, on the other hand, might be touring soon. JD, I mean, I like it, but I haven't pulled this for a minute, so. All right, honey. Well, you are part of the team now, so I apologize for said in advance. But where can everybody find you?
Everybody can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Honey. I don't really do the X thing. I am building my YouTube, and I do need some help with some subscribers. So you can find me on Wrestling with Honey on YouTube as well. And I will also be on my live after this, doing my watch along for SmackDown, getting ready to view the action. We have a lot of good stuff happening tonight, so follow me there, guys.
All right. Well, our information, our unofficial official producer Dylan is on to create Honey an intro. I have a feeling it's going to have to do with the van, so we'll see how it all goes. There's something with Honey in a van. I'm seeing it. I might be wrong, but sometime around 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to get a WhatsApp from Dylan with several videos.
So, boy. I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, there it is. But thank you guys so much for joining. It's better for you than sugar. Honey is better than okay. Okay. We'll go with that. Thank you, special nobodies for joining. Thank you, Dylan, our unofficial official producer, JD, Bosa, our information officer, Shadow Ranger. I think I saw Eric up there as well. So thank you guys so much for joining, for commenting, all those things. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Make sure you check out, like I said, every day we're going to be debuting a different Black wrestling. It's not going to be a wrestler per se every day, but somebody who has been impactful in the wrestling community. So you can check that out on our social media and on our website at www.talkpod.com. With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Till next time, guys. Ciao.
Howdy, folks. This is Willow Nightingale, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.